Just loading into map number 2 here, as previously mentioned, it will be Whirlwind.
Now this is loser's choice. So
It is, yeah.
Picking a map that's very, very strong for Zerg seems strange. I'm just going to put that out there now.
Indeed, that's an interesting decision, but first of all, let's introduce our players here spawning in the bottom right-hand side, bottom left-hand side of Whirlwind. It is going to be the red Terran player playing for Fnatic. It is Naama.
That's absolutely right. And in the top left-hand corner of Whirlwind, of course unaware of where his opponent has spawned, it's going to be 1-0 up from the first game, representing Alliance. It's SortOf, our blue Zerg player.
Absolutely, he looked very, very strong in game number 1. Maybe abusing a little bit the fact that the Naama potentially went for the wrong unit, with Force not really being too good against roaches, especially if they can actually almost surround the 4 and pretty much one-shot it. Yeah, maybe Naama overthinks his decision making just a little bit here, and we might see a very, very cool game number 2 here between those two guys.
We might well, and he went for a strange unit decision in the last game. I really think he's gone for a strange map decision in this game. If I'm a Terran player and I'm against a Zerg player, a very, very strong Zerg player, Whirlwind is the absolute last map I would want to be playing a decisive game on. It gives the Zerg every advantage to macro up. Just seeing the hatchery first is coming down, I'd imagine we'll probably see a third hatch very, very, very quickly, if not even before pool.
That could very well be true. Whirlwind is known for this extremely economically oriented openings. So alliances sort of could very well go for such things as these. But Naama eventually will spot that if he goes for that. No, he's actually going to throw it on his pool. But still, hatch first. That's definitely very economically orientated. So he's definitely planning to go for a macro game here.
It is. I mean, certainly going hatch first in ZVT is more standard than going hatch first in either of the other matchups. If you go hatch first in ZVZ is reasonably common, whereas against Protoss you almost always want your pool down first, because if you scout a 4 gate and early all in, you don't want to be wasting time building a pool. You want to be able to build speed links straight away and counter it. So it is kind of in the textbook to go for an early hatchery, and as we've seen, the wall offers coming from our Terran player as well, so an early pool would have got absolutely nothing done.
No, absolutely not, and he's also now going to throw on his command center after attaching a reactor to his first initial barracks there, so he is going to look to get as many marines out as possible to be able to defend that quick expansion here as well as possible. Also will eventually throw down that factory here, so ultimately he will eventually switch into Hellions to be able to get the map control. Maybe also do a little bit of, not a little bit, but a lot of damage, and pretty much keep the Zerg player in his base.
We certainly saw in the last game how effective the Hellions can be against the Zerg player, although SortOf obviously came through and won the game in the end. Naama got an awful lot of joy from his Hellions early on in the game. We've got a couple of Marines in the middle of the map, just being harassed by some Zerglings. I think they're looking for the Zerg base, but they're not going to get very far because they're going to get picked off.
I think Naama already saw that his opponent was to the top left.
We don't yet have any indication of a tech choice from our Zerg player that I can see, although we do have a drone moving out, so it looks like he will take that third base nice and early.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very smart decision. But of course, you have to keep in mind, Naama once again going for the Hellion drops here and could once again very well follow this up with a Banshee play. Though this time we do not see the second gas, so he just might go with the Hellion drop play. But still, of course, that can be very, very effective, as we saw in game number 1, where I think he killed more than 30 workers with those initial drops.
Certainly, he lost in spite of the drops rather than because of the drops. He is going to go for the medevac, and it's Hellions once more. So it looks like we're going to see the same. He does find himself supply blocked though, which is quite embarrassing. That's going to delay his build a little bit. Plucks down a supply depot to try and repair that. However, it just gives our Zerg player even more opportunity to get further and further ahead on the macro. SortOf already fairly well saturated in his first and his second base. He's going to start throwing those works out to the third, and he's going to get such a decent economical lead here, Elmo, that we could see all sorts of problems.
Absolutely. First Hellions will move out here for Naama, but of course he has to be careful because SortOf already has a lot of links out, and they of course have their speeding upgrades, so surrounds can be an effective measure of actually killing off those Hellions here. Naama decides to pull back, waiting for the medevac that will eventually be constructed here, I'd assume.
Yeah, but having seen
Oh
that
no, I think he's
Hellions
actually
on the
gonna
map,
switch here. He will go for ban. No, he's not. Okay. Interesting.
here we go. He's got a drop in the main.
Oh,
He's got
there's
a
a
bunch-
medevac. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
He's got a bunch of bio units just cruising around looking for a place to drop. They do find a place to drop, tucked up in between the gas and the minerals, but the medevac's going to go down. The bio is going to be picked up. It's going to do quite a bit of damage while it's there, but it does now go down. In the meantime, the Hellions are now running in towards the third. They're taking out those Lings as they go. The Queens will chase them off, and the Lings will eventually get the surround. But are they going to quite have enough? I don't think they are. Two Hellions look like they're going to get away.
Oh,
but they're in
more
the second one, yeah, more
So-
Lings.
There we go. Hellions get
Blindsided.
taken out. Already a very nice win there for SortOf. He now regains the map control and is maybe also going to go for a small counter aggression here. But of course, with a lot of Hellions here for Naama, Naama should be able to deal with that.
He does sort of thinks better of that, and as Hellions are now going to try and attack the Zerglings and take them all out. Get a small surround on one of them, but the two Zerglings will be forced away and will retreat. There's two roaches out in the centre of the map. The Hellions want to be careful there, especially the damage one that could be dealt with very, very quickly. In the meantime, there is a Viking, and the Viking is on Overlord hunting duty. It's picked off one. That's going to supply block our Zerg players. Picked up a couple, they've just popped their replacements. That's minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, the Hellions are pushed in to the third once more. The Queens will force them back, but that harass is just annoying, Elmo.
Absolutely, and also it is keeping SortOf back in his base. Naama once again takes map control here, which can be extremely, well, it definitely is extremely useful here, getting that map control pretty much at any given point in time, knowing where the Zerg player has his army, or at least knowing that it cannot be directly in front of your main base, is very, very nice. And also now eventually we will see Naama transitioning to more of a standard style here, going into that bio mine style, which is definitely one of the, as you were mentioning, the textbook styles. It's definitely in the textbook for TVZ.
It is, but also in the textbook for ZVT is getting quick banelings. Quick banelings are on the way for saw how effective they were in the previous game. When mixed in with that composition, unexpected, unscouted. The first time we saw the banelings was with his main force, and they just dealt so much damage to the workers. Meanwhile, we have another drop in the second. So more bioforces picked up, dropped. Not that much.
At the same time, we also have 6 Hellions moving into the natural here, trying to take out some workers. They will get a surrounder, but there's a lot of them going to die here. And of course, the drop is going to, or the run by is going to be cleaned up. 6 workers have been killed so far. But in the meantime, we have another drop in the third base, but that medevac is definitely now going to be chased away with just 22 HP remaining.
SortOf's multitasking, standing up to the examination, give it to there, and it looks like he's now going to move out across the map with that counter attack. But there's a force moving out on the way. There's mines there. If those mines can get buried, and they do, oh dear. Oh, Elmo, look how many banelings we've got building here.
Absolutely has.
So
Does he
many
know that there
banelings.
are banelings? He sees the banelings now, so he definitely should know that there is something heading towards him. Roach is already tanking up those widow mines, meaning that there is no more splash damage to be able to deal with the banelings, but we still have a lot of marauders.
And not great hits the marauders. That's not good. Those still a handful of banelings left. They've done a reasonable job, but not a great job. The banelings towards again. They're now being slowed down and destroyed. Banelings being lost very, very cheaply indeed here. And Naama's not happy at all. Naama leaves the game.
Ooh, that is
Naama not happy.
definitely
No.
not.